Hi, I'm Taylor Smurl.
And I'm Tommy Smurl.
And this is
Neat.
Hey, Dad, how you doing?
I'm doing real good because we got a good topic tonight.
I figured you were excited. It's a beer episode. It's your favorite top 9. Yeah.
That's right. I love the beer episodes.
Well, over on the podcast, we talked all about wheat beers, the history of brewing beer with wheat, and all of the different derivatives that we have in modern day. Two of the major styles of which are German Hefeweissens and Belgian wheat beers. So that's, there's a whole wide realm. We're going to touch on a few of those today. We've got a lot of beer to show off, but that's probably what you've encountered mainly if you've had a wheat beer.
That's right. So, it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. And who's that guy? It's a guy with 2 thumbs.
That's a lot of guys. Be more specific than that. All right, so I think how we're going to start is just going to be a head-to-head tasting of those 2 styles that you're probably encountering the most of wheat beers in the summer, which is Hefeweizen, like that clean German-style Hefeweizen, and then up against a Belgian-style wheat beer, which usually has coriander or orange peel added to it, which would go against the German purity laws. Not allowed in Germany. So we're just going to kind of compare these 2 styles, see how they differentiate. Now, for my German beer, I have from the Hofbrauhaus, I've got this Hofbrau Hefeweizen. So classic German brewery, huge name in Germany, incredibly simple beer as by the German standard.
And I have the Weinstoffner Heftweiss beer.
There you go.
Which is the same type thing.
Yep. So these are two of the biggest brew houses too in Germany.
What are you pitting yours against?
Simple, classic. Gonna go with Hoegaarden. It is, brewed in Belgium. It's got that coriander and orange peel flavor profile that Blue Moon is mimicking. So just, gonna go with this.
And it's got the most of the shit that floats in the bottom that's good for you.
Yeah, it's got, it doesn't look like, well, yeah, there's some sediment in there.
Yeah, you don't see it that much. You get a little bit in some of the others, but not much. Now, I picked the UFO White. It's also got the orange peel and coriander, and it's brewed in Boston, Mass.
Right.
So, it's an American beer, but it's making it the Belgian brew way.
I didn't realize when I first worked at a beer bar, I didn't realize that UFO was a Boston beer, and I had some very intensely Boston customers that would get really excited when we had UFO, and I was like, "Are you into aliens? What? Oh, it's a Boston thing. People from Boston love things from Boston."
Yeah, the color on those, both of them, they're very close. The German beer is a little clearer, whereas the UFO is cloudier.
Same here. The Hofbrauhaus beer, nice and clear, a little darker. The Hoegaarden, a little lighter. And I'd say right away on the nose, this is, you get that kind of that sweet malty nose on the German style Hefeweizen. But that Belgian beer, so intensely orange and spice. Bottoms up. Cheers.
Bottoms up. Cheers. I'll double cheer you. I got to drink both of them.
Yeah.
I don't want to. You definitely feel a difference in texture too.
Mm-hmm.
The wit beer seems thicker.
You don't notice the effervescence of it as much.
Yeah, this one's a little cleaner and crisper than this one, but I really like this. I like the unfiltered ones.
One thing that I noticed when I was perusing my store, which has a pretty good selection, is that, and I have a lot of them over here, a lot of the wheat beers made in America take on the Belgian style. And I mean, obviously that's what Blue Moon does. And I was curious as to why that is, but I feel like this kind of answers the question pretty succinctly. Americans have a sweeter palate than a lot of the world. And this is a sweeter beer. It's a little thicker, it's a little sweeter. Whereas yes, the Hefeweizen is more bracing, less, I don't want to say less flavorful, but it's got a more focused flavor,
I agree.
But let's get into some of the other stuff, because I know we both just sort of perused our beer markets, got some fun stuff. Let's see what else we got going on.
All right. Well, one of the things that stood out to me, that we mentioned, was Cristal. And there's Cristal Weiss beer, also a Weidenstoffer offer. It said it's filtered, so I would expect this. I can't tell, but it looks like it probably is. I expect this to be very clear. That's what the Cristal means. It's filtered.
There you go.
Oh yeah, that's much clearer than those other two. That would, I mean, just viewing it, that looks like a Budweiser or a Miller or something like that. So that's good, and it is very crisp and clean. This is one of those ones. Feel like you could drink one of those giant steins of it.
Right. That's a hot day beer.
Yeah, that's a good one. Let me see what the alcohol is on that one.
I've never had that specific
Cristal
style.
Weiss beer.
I would like to try that.
5.4%.
Wow, it's a little higher too. I'm curious now, just because I have them both here. You talked about the copyright issue between Hoegaarden and Blue Moon. I happen to have both of them.
So you want to compare them?
I wonder how they are head to head.
Well, what they said was the guy went and learned from the guy that did Hoegaarden. He learned from, came back and did his brew. The only difference was he did it with Valencia oranges instead of the you say it. Yeah, Curacao oranges.
Yeah.
And that was because, just like you said, the American palate, the Valencia orange is a sweeter orange, whereas the Curacao is a little bit more on the bitter side.
Curacao pops. I mean, obviously, Curacao, orange Curacao. It's the orange often used in like higher grade triple sec orange liqueurs. You find it a lot in. If it sounds familiar, that's why it's familiar. That's funny because after having just had the Hoegaarden, I'm like, oh man, Hoegaarden but sweeter. It's been a long time since I've had a Blue Moon.
The Blue Moon probably smells sweeter, doesn't it?
I think actually, the Hoegaarden has a better nose. It has more of an expressive, like spice and citrus nose on it. The Moon smells a little flat. Like there's not a lot going on. Yeah, that's interesting. I was expecting like Hoegaarden but sweeter, but what I'm experiencing is the Blue Moon just tastes kind of flat by comparison.
Oh, really?
Like I get some citrusy notes. There's like maybe a hint of spice, but it feels like kind of a not as good Hoegaarden. I don't think it's distinctly sweeter. I have no stake in this competition, but if you handed me these two beers, I could understand that they're related, but I would probably go with the Hoegaarden because it tastes like something.
Well, all right. Well, I've always liked Hoegaarden. You don't find it as easily as you find Blue Moon.
You know, I think maybe this is it. Maybe it's the Blue Moon is kind of a compromise between it's a wheat beer, but it also, I could see this appealing to like a Budweiser palate, right? It's also, It's just less of everything.
Yeah. All right.
What else you got?
Well, I grabbed another one that's made here in America. And this one is a Sierra Nevada one. And it's a Keller Weiss.
Okay.
We talked about Keller Weiss beers on there as well. I'm getting a fresh glass for each one. I don't want to contaminate my palate with it there.
That's brewed using open tank fermentation, which is it's a traditional way that a lot of wheat beers are brewed.
Yeah, that does have a lot more going on. Now this is made in California.
Yeah.
But it is a Bavarian style, and it's a good unfiltered beer. It does have a range. I don't even know that I can describe it, but it's got a range of several different tastes going on there.
Oh. I'm pretty sure the Keller Weiss, its kind of trick is that it's fermented in those open air tanks, which you get those funky yeast strains that you find with like farmhouse ales. Another American brewery that I do enjoy that I noticed, like as I mentioned, a lot of American breweries mimic the Belgian style. But one that I do tend to like what they put out is Allagash. I got the Allagash White, which is their Belgian style wheat beer, and it's coriander and curacao orange peels.
I did come across a rating when we were doing the research for the podcast portion, and Allagash was right up there near the top of the ones of rated wheat beers.
Really?
Okay.
All right. So it's a little cloudy with a lot of wheat beers when they're in the bottle. To properly serve them, we will often give them a delicate roll on the table. Hopefully that's not messing up the mic too much. And then pour them because you do want to get a little bit of that like stuff in the bottom in your glass from the first pour.
That good stuff.
Yeah. So it looks a lot like the Hoegaarden, and it smells better too. Like it smells like something, whereas the Blue Moon just kind of smelled like flabby beer.
We're gonna get an email. We're gonna get an email from Blue Moon.
This is really nice. It's I like it better than the Hoegaarden. It's not as sweet. It's got the same flavor profile. You get the orange, you get the coriander. It's got a nice spice profile, but it's a really like full, like well-rounded beer.
Yeah, I want to say that was rated like number 3 of all the wheat beers. I wanted to do this one. This is one we talked about when we talked about a dark white beer. This is the Weidenstoffer. They do a lot of these wheat beers, and they have the Heftweiss beer Dunkle. So this is a Dunkle for your uncle. It's not nearly as dark as I was expecting. I guess I was thinking more along a stout or a porter. Now it is darker. Here's, the first one. So it's definitely darker, but it's not as dark as what I was expecting.
And you could have like added toasted malts to that.
Yeah, that's a 5.3% alcohol.
Yeah.
So all of them right around there, anywhere from, all these have been from like 4.2 to 5.4.
Yeah.
I think I like that better than any of the first ones that we had.
I believe that you like dark beers. A little sweet, a little caramelly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very smooth too. It's got a nice texture and it's very smooth. I definitely recommend that one. Heftweiss beer Dunkle. If I could speak German, I could say that all real good.
So one category we talked about in the kind of under the wheat beer umbrella was, of course, the idea of the American wheat beer, that there is a lot of these American wheat beers I've talked about are mimicking the Belgian style, but that there is a distinct American wheat beer style. One of my favorite of which is Oberon by Bell's Brewery. In general, Bell's Brewery does amazing beers, but their Oberon is one of my favorite summertime beers.
All right.
All right, so the thing with Oberon and how I feel like it fits the bill of like an American wheat beer is that, especially in the new age of craft brewing in America, we really love our hops. And hop is not a word we've mentioned in any of the beers we've had so far. There's not really any sort of like that kind of bitterness. But what I like about the Oberon is it has a bit of that classic Hefeweizen build to it, but it does have some hops and it does have some nice spice. Yeah, it's very citrusy, but that citrusiness is nicely balanced by some like a little like that nice kind of pithy bitterness that I haven't found in any of these beers thus far.
All right, now I've got one. Now this is a typical American offering. This is what Americans do when they get hold of something. They just bastardize it, I guess. I don't know.
I just defended American beer making.
Well, I know, but this sometimes we go over the top is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true.
This is from Dunkle Brewing Company in Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay.
Now, this is called the Pastryarchy. You see what that is on there? That's oatmeal pies. This is oatmeal cream pie Imperial honey wheat ale. I have no idea what this is going to taste like. I just saw the can and saw that it was a wheat, and I said, oh my God, I got to try that. Although I have to say my expectations are not high.
I don't know how I feel about the name alone. Is it good? Like, is it called like Crush the Pastryarchy? Like you're going to crush the beer, but you're also going to destroy patriarchy?
Nope, it says snack on this. Notes and aromas of ultra soft spiced oatmeal cookies, sandwiching the fluffiest of vanilla cream filling, layered in every single sip. Golden, medium-bodied, and clean with subtle complexities and slight breadiness. You may want one for each hand.
That's a lot.
But it is 8% alcohol.
Oh, well, good night.
Well, it does pour very creamily, and it clears up. It's not nearly as, as cloudy as the unfiltered ones.
Oh.
It clears up. Smells like dessert. All right, I'm going to try this oatmeal pie. I hope that it's okay.
All right. Oh, no, that's not a good face.
No, it wasn't quite a Malort face. Sometimes it's best to stick with the original. Do not get too, carried away from the main point. So
maybe
I do
we didn't really plan out these tastings. We just kind of worked our way through it. But maybe this is a great example of confronting American hubris where, hey, Bell's is great and the Oberon's great because it honors the styles that it inspired it while also doing its thing. Whatever you just drank did not.
No, I don't want to talk bad about it, but I do not recommend it. I'd drink any of the other ones. That would be last.
Well, all right. Well, so we do have one cocktail for you. I think there are a lot of really good beer cocktails out there, and we've made, I think, a couple versions of this at this point. But I do like a Beermosa, and I felt it would be remiss to not bring a Beermosa to the table for this video because I think that the Belgian style wheat beer is the perfect beer for a light, refreshing Beermosa. The, of course, beer cousin to a mimosa. There are other names I've seen it called. A brass monkey. It depends on how you've encountered it. But combination of beer and orange juice.
That funky monkey.
Indeed. All right. Just toss a couple dashes of bitters in there before.
All right. Now what, bartender?
All right. So now we're going to do for Pint, I don't particularly like orange juice cocktails that are like over 50% orange juice, or I like a 1-to-2 ratio of orange juice to other stuff. So I'm going to add about 1/3 of orange juice on my pint glass.
Okay, gotcha.
Right up to there.
Okay.
And now I will say, you don't have to add a base spirit to this. It's fine if you don't. But a lot of like shandies, beer cocktails, I like to add a base spirit. And I do think if you want to, my favorite one to mix with the flavors that are going to come from the wheat beer is actually like rum, specifically like agricole rum. So I'm going to add like an ounce of, I have like some Barbancourt rum that I'm going to add a little bit of, because it's got a very strong banana clove flavor that's going to play against the flavors of my wheat beer. If you don't have that, don't worry about it. If you want a lower alcohol cocktail.
All right, I got my rum. What'd you say, an ounce?
Yeah, just an ounce. The rest of your glass, you just want to top it off with your beer. And we're just gonna add a little bit of peel on top. Here you go. So here's our just nice Belgian wheat beer inspired Beermosa, brass monkey, whatever you want to call it. Cheers.
Cheers. I like that. That's really good. And I'm not much for one on beer cocktails. When it comes to beer, I just drink the beer, but that's really good.
If you're not a fan of champagne, but you like a brunch cocktail, you like the idea of like a little hair of the dog, but also some orange juice, some stuff that's going to kind of help you get over that hangover, I think it works really well. And the flavors line up really nicely. That orange, that coriander, the Angostura, that little bit of rum. If you want to add it, you don't have to, but it works together. This is one of my favorite, like, just easy brunch cocktails. Also just feels like, it's a beer with some dressing on it. So
yeah, that was good. Even Blue Moon couldn't even mess it up.
That's a great use of a Blue Moon, because a lot of these beers you wouldn't really want to muck up with anything else, but with Blue Moon, it's fine. It's fine. Of course, the recipe for this little Beermosa will be down below. If you want to find us on social media, we are Neat Boozecast on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to email us, you can email us at neattheboozecast@gmail.com. If you want to join our Patreon, we have regular rewards. If you want to find us on Facebook, Dad has a group.
Neat the Boozecast. We've got about 220 members. Join the crowd.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I have been Taylor Smurl.
I've been Tommy Smurl.
And this has been
Neat.
I hope you enjoyed this video. We're coming to you from the future.
Future Tommy and Taylor.
Hey, we're just here to announce that, as we mentioned, if you're a member of our Patreon, we have our new Bespoke Cocktail Club videos premiering only on Patreon exclusive forever and always, where our our patrons can have custom cocktails made just for them. And we just finished recording the first one of those videos.
That's right. We have 2 winners, and they now have their own personalized beverages.
I'm making a cocktail for our Patreon member, Jacob.
And I'm making one for Joseph.
So Jacob and Joseph, we got your emails. We have made you drinks over on the Patreon. You can have your exclusive video. And if this sounds like something you want to be a part of, join our Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can watch all of the videos. At the $4 and up level on our Patreon, you not only get physical rewards, you get stickers, you get coasters, you get all sorts of stuff, but you can enter into the Bespoke Cocktail Lottery, where every month we choose 2 Patreon members to get a video made for them. 1 cocktail made by Dad, 1 cocktail made by me. And yeah, that sounds cool. Check it out. How did you describe your steampunk persona, Dad? You put on the glasses and you said you were what?
I'm like that guy that's in the watch shop that comes in, and I've got the secret door that takes them to a passage to the place where all the stuff is going on. And I say, well, are you whippersnappers? We'll just have to see what my suspenders say. Oh, my, hurt my nipples.
Well, also comforting, nipples still exist in the future. So now you know.
Nipples have not been banned. Free the nipple.
There you go.